Like any other day, the slave trader is doing his usual business when suddenly a couple approaches him, not to buy a slave, but to sell their own child. The slave trader refuses immediately, saying he doesn't buy children, and suspiciously asks if they're really the boy's parents. At that moment, a merchant standing nearby accepts the couple's offer and buys the child. This merchant is actually a nobleman who travels across the world buying slaves. The couple leaves without even looking back once, and the nobleman departs as well. In truth, the nobleman has been searching for someone strong, because the stronger the slave, the more entertaining the arena fights become, and the more profit he earns. Most slaves are weak, so he often hunts for war prisoners or wanted criminals, which isn't easy. Then he notices a man who looks like a true warrior, his body built like a mountain. The nobleman thinks, if only I could get a war slave like him. But then he realizes, the same man is selling his own child. Understanding immediately, he decides to buy the boy. He later throws the child into his arena, placing him under the care of his arena champion, and tells the champion to train and look after the boy, promising rewards in return. The champion thinks the boy won't survive even a week, since the arena's environment is brutal, not meant for children. But surprisingly, the boy survives. He eats well, moves actively, and keeps his spirit alive. The champion soon realizes this is no ordinary child. He begins to raise him sincerely. Whatever the champion teaches, the boy learns double. And even when not taught, he learns new things on his own. Time passes, the boy grows up, becomes stronger, and starts forming his own opinions. The champion can no longer fully understand his thoughts. Then comes the day of the boy's first arena match. The champion watches it and is left speechless. The boy's combat skills are flawless, far beyond what he had taught him. His terrifying power shakes the entire arena. Soon, he becomes the arena king, even at a young age. Sometime later, the champion finally loses his own arena battle. But before his eyes close forever, he sees the boy kill his opponent in rage, right there in the arena. The boy, abandoned by his parents, has now also lost the only person who raised him. Nevertheless, he continues to survive, fighting, growing, and eventually becoming an adult. Not long after, an event is announced, one that might finally allow him to leave the arena. A student named William arrives at the arena with his senior. William nervously tells his senior that this place feels like a gambling den. If the university finds out, they'll be in trouble. The senior tells him not to worry. William reminds him they came to university to study, not to take part in such activities, and says he needs to go back soon to pay his tuition fees tomorrow. What he doesn't realize is that the senior has secretly stolen William's coin pouch, his tuition money, and used it to place a bet. William silently curses himself for following the senior. He recalls his father's advice, "Don't become a barbarian, my son. I believe in you." He remembers his sister's love, and his mother apologizing that they couldn't give him more money but still saying she's proud of him. William prays quietly, asking God to save his money this time, promising never to repeat this mistake. They enter the arena. The atmosphere feels dark and dangerous. The announcer introduces the first fighter, a warrior from the northern mountains, a man recently released from prison, Deathbringer. He wields a spiked club. The senior says he looks strong, while William grows uneasy, realizing how violent this place is. He asks if the senior bet on Deathbringer, but the senior says no, he bet on Happy Face. William is shocked at the name. It sounds like someone weak. He jokes to himself that maybe the guy just has a mysterious smile. Then, when the announcer calls out, "Happy Face," the crowd erupts in cheers, chanting his name. Happy Face enters the arena, a young boy with an innocent face, curly hair, and a genuine smile. He's barefoot. William is stunned. He stands up, shouting that the boy must be taken out, that he doesn't belong here and will die if he stays. But the crowd ignores him. Deathbringer laughs, thinking it's a joke, but says he'll kill the boy anyway. He swings his weapon hard at Happy Face. William shuts his eyes in fear. When he opens them again, Happy Face is on the ground, bleeding, but slowly he stands back up. William pleads for him to stop, but suddenly remembers something from childhood. When he once saw slave children in the lower districts with his father, he had asked his father if it wasn't unfair for them to live like that. His father had replied that they were born that way, and told him to focus upward, toward their great empire, that this was their destiny. William, now angry and conflicted, fixes his eyes back on the arena. Deathbringer charges again, but this time, Happy Face blocks the attack with his bare hands. At that exact moment, their eyes meet. William's eyes filled with tears, while Happy Face still wears that unshaken smile. Then, Happy Face launches his counterattack, brutal and fast. William is stunned. Happy Face strikes again and again until Deathbringer collapses. The arena explodes in cheers. William stands frozen in disbelief. The senior smirks and shows him a betting slip. Happy Face's win record, 99%. The senior laughs and says, "Why waste time on small bets?" Let's go big next time." William doesn't reply. He silently walks away, goes back to the university, and pays his tuition fee. That night, he lies awake, unable to sleep. The memories of the arena and Happy Face's smile won't leave his mind. At dawn, he suddenly jumps out of bed. Meanwhile, his senior walks with some friends until William suddenly appears before him. The senior freezes in shock as William, his eyes calm but intense, quietly asks him, "When are we going back to the arena?" The scene shifts. Deathbringer regains consciousness. Still furious from his defeat, he clenches his fists. A fellow fighter nearby mocks him, saying he must have slept enough by now and should start preparing for the next match. Deathbringer looks around and sees Happy Face training nearby. The man tells Deathbringer that he is lucky to have fought that boy, that Happy Face always adjusts his skill level to match his opponent's strength. Hearing this, Deathbringer bursts out in frustration, saying he lost only because he let his guard down. Happy Face notices the tension and simply says they should save the fighting for the arena. The man immediately calls him Sir. Deathbringer realizes that everyone here seems to be under the boy's command, maybe because Happy Face defeated him. He thinks to himself that it was only luck that helped the boy win. All these people are weaklings anyway. If he can defeat Happy Face, he will become the new boss of this place. He walks toward Happy Face and asks where he came from: the slave market, a war prison, or maybe kidnapped by pirates. Happy Face, with his usual gentle smile, replies that he heard he was sold here by his parents. He grew up here, and the people of the arena taught him how to fight. Deathbringer assumes that means someone must have been his master, someone stronger than him. Happy Face realizes he has misspoken. He removes his shirt, showing a strong body covered in old scars. He explains that the one who trained him is no longer alive, and now there's no one left who can teach him or even give him a proper fight. Pointing toward Deathbringer, he says that sometimes he lets people like him hit him just to make the fights look tough. It keeps the crowd entertained. Hearing this truth, Deathbringer's eyes fill with fear. He remembers how easily Happy Face stopped his attack that day. Happy Face puts a hand on his shoulder and says it's break time. There's no need to fight now. They will meet again in the arena. Then he resumes his training. Deathbringer quietly sits down beside the same man as before. The man tells him it's fine. Everyone feels that way in the beginning. Meanwhile, William arrives at the arena with a pass. He hesitates, still uneasy, feeling like he's entering a gambler's den again. The pass he has was given to him by his senior, along with money to place another bet. The senior had even told him which bet to make. William stands silently in line, waiting to enter the arena. The scene changes again, to a remote village at a small graveyard house. The owner is an old gravedigger who tells his apprentice Cigar to go to the arena and collect the bodies after the fights. They ride to the arena on a donkey cart. When they arrive, the old man looks around carefully and says it seems a big event has taken place here. Sagar begins lifting bodies into the cart. While doing so, he notices something strange: blue, bruised marks on the wrists and chests of the dead fighters. He leans closer and realizes these are not cuts from weapons, but bruises made by bare hands. The marks are only a few days old. He wonders how this is possible. The arena is famous for weapon combat, so why are there signs of barehanded fighting? Suddenly, the old man calls out to him in panic. He points toward one of the corpses and says it looks like a member of the royal family, the same person recently listed as missing. When Sadr checks, he sees the royal markings match perfectly. Sadr insists they must immediately report this to the lord and the church officers. But the old man stops him, warning that the king's temper is dangerous. He might blame them instead. It's safer to stay quiet. Sagar disagrees, saying that whoever committed this crime must be punished, even if it cost his life. He leaves, saying that maybe everyone connected to the arena will be wiped out because of this. Meanwhile, William has reached the arena again, waiting for Happy Face's fight to begin. On the other side, the weather turns rainy. A woman rushes outside to bring the clothes in, but when she opens the main door, she freezes in shock. Soldiers wearing iron armor are marching past her house. The troop is being led by a commander, and together they head straight toward the arena. The commander gives a clear order. The killer of a royal family member is hiding inside this place. No one is to escape alive. Everyone must be captured, and if anyone resists, they are to be killed on the spot. Inside the arena, the fights continue. William isn't interested in the other matches. He is waiting only for Happy Face's fight. Then, the announcer declares the main event. The crowd cheers wildly as Happy Face enters the arena, smiling as always. Next, the announcer introduces his opponent, a serial killer who recently terrorized an entire village. His name is Nocturnal Demon, and he will face Happy Face in the final match. William is shocked, wondering how such a dangerous man ended up here. Before walking into the arena, Nocturnal Demon says this place isn't hell for him, it's heaven. Suddenly, the commander appears backstage with his soldiers. He recognizes the serial killer immediately. The commander remarks that if people like him can come out of prison, it must mean some royal member is involved. Hearing this, Nocturnal Demon becomes nervous. He notices an open gate behind the commander and thinks of escaping, but instead, he suddenly lunges forward and attacks the commander. The commander, however, kills him instantly with a single strike. Then the commander himself comes out into the arena from the entrance and orders his men to surround it. The soldiers spread out, blocking every exit and aiming their weapons. He commands everyone inside to kneel. One man tries to reason with the soldiers but is immediately killed on the spot. Seeing this, William panics and quickly kneels down as ordered. The commander then turns his attention to Happy Face and orders him to kneel as well. But Happy Face remains standing, calm, and still. His eyes shift toward the commander's weapon, and suddenly, he attacks. The commander strikes back, but Happy Face dodges easily and counters with a blow from the commander's own weapon, hitting him squarely in the face. The crowd gasps in shock. No one can believe what they're seeing. Enraged, the commander charges again, but Happy Face has already read his movement. With a single, powerful punch, he sends the commander flying across the arena floor. William's eyes widen in disbelief. He can hardly breathe from the shock. The commander, wounded but alive, struggles to rise and attack once more. But before he can, the soldiers open fire with arrows. Happy Face is struck and falls to the ground. The commander stands still, staring at him in awe. This man is unlike anyone he's ever seen. Then, as he looks closer, he notices Happy Face's expression. Even with arrows piercing his body, Happy Face is still smiling. The commander thinks Happy Face is looking at him with mocking eyes. Furious, he stands up with his weapon, ready to strike, believing Happy Face is insulting him. But before he can act, a nobleman shouts for him to stop. The commander recognizes him. It is nobleman Lucastian. The nobleman explains that Happy attacks only because he thinks it is part of the arena fight. He has never been outside that world and can't understand the situation. Anyone who enters the arena with a weapon, he automatically sees as an opponent. The nobleman then reveals something shocking. Happy's facial expression is not intentional. He has had a disability since childhood. The nerves in his face are damaged, freezing his expression into a permanent smile. It is hard to believe, but it is true. Because of that expression, he always seems cheerful and happy. Even when his parents abandoned him, he appeared to be laughing. When he was hurt, he smiled. Even when the man who raised him died, he looked happy. That is why, in prison, people called him a demon. He suffered greatly because of it, but survived only because he was good at fighting. Lucastian says he has watched Happy all his life. He knows the truth. Happy can never show his real emotions. Inside, he is always scared, sad, and in despair. Yet people never believe it. Even now, despite the pain and injuries, he still looks happy. People are captivated by his smiling face, always returning to see him. Lucastian confesses that he too was drawn to Happy, so much so that he didn't run away. He came back for him, to repay the joy that Happy unknowingly gave him. The commander angrily tells him to be silent and attacks him with his weapon. Soon after, the nobleman, a member of the royal family, confesses his crimes. He and the other arena organizers are executed before the king's palace. The king's anger cools for a while, but the prisoners from the arena remain in their cells, awaiting death. Among them is William. Terrified and full of regret, he sits beside Happy. Seeing him there, William is startled and asks how he got there. Happy tells him he has been imprisoned beside him since last night. The darkness had hidden him, but he had been watching William talk to himself. Shocked, William asks if the arrows hadn't wounded him. Happy says he was hit a little, but the rest was an act, to make everyone think he had died. William is speechless. Nervously, he asks if Happy is afraid. Happy admits he is, because they are both going to die. William lowers his head, trying not to laugh, thinking his smiling face does not match his words at all. Happy tells him not to worry. Everyone misunderstands him the same way. They both fall silent. William realizes that the man he once thought dangerous is not what he seems. In fact, he feels strangely calm in his presence. Later, a guard arrives with the king's orders. Prisoners who have families can call them for defense. If proven innocent, they will be released. Those who can't prove their origins will face punishment. An hour later, William's family arrives. He meets them with tears and apologies, and they embrace him with joy. From inside the cell, Happy watches the reunion quietly. When William looks back at him, his father places a hand on his head, triggering memories from William's past. His father says that people without families live like that, alone. With tears, William tries to explain himself, but his father pulls away angrily and leaves. William thinks to himself that he is still the same as he had been as a child, helpless and weak. Happy, watching him with the same gentle smile, tells him he will be fine. Then they part ways. Later, an officer approaches the commander, reporting that the innocent ones have been released. The commander orders the rest to be taken for execution, but the officer hesitates and says there is one special prisoner. Lucastian has registered him as a member of the church. By church law, he can't be killed. His sentence is changed to lifelong slavery, and the king has approved it. The prisoner has no real name, only a title, Happy Face. The officer trembles, remembering Lucastian's final words. Perhaps this is his way of saying thank you. A week passes. The scene shifts to a slave market. Merchants whisper that the new slave seems insane. He smiles all the time. Another replies that no one wants to buy him, and the church has sold him cheaply. Then, an old woman appears. She says she wants to buy the child. The traders laugh and tell her there are no children here, but she points her stick toward Happy Face and says, "That child sitting there, crying." In the reflection of her ancient eyes, the image of Happy Face appears, his smiling face now wet with silent tears. A little later, a woman sits at the dining table, surprised, asking if grandmother has really brought home a slave. Across from her, an older man explains that the grandmother will have to visit the clinic more often now since she is getting old, so it will be good to have someone around to help. The girl frowns, saying that trusting such slaves is not a good idea. The man tells her not to worry. Grandmother has brought a kind and gentle one, and her eyes can always see a person's true nature. But the girl is still uneasy and decides she will go the next day to see him herself, to judge whether he is trustworthy or not. Meanwhile, the old woman tells Happy Face to bathe and change his clothes while she prepares food for him. She explains that this is only for the first day. From tomorrow onward, he will have to start working. Happy Face quietly asks about fighting, which surprises her. She tells him never to speak of such things again. When he goes to the bath, he hesitates, thinking the water will be cold and he will freeze. But as he steps in, he feels warmth. It is hot and comforting water. For the first time in his life, he feels the soothing touch of heat. It feels as though his old pain is being washed away. After bathing, he changes clothes, eats the meal, and the old woman applies medicine to his wounds, realizing how brutally he has been whipped. Happy Face calls her master, but she gently corrects him, telling him to call her grandmother instead. He then asks if he can go outside. She says if he wants to go, she will not stop him. When he steps out, a strange new feeling comes over him. It is something he has never felt before. Since childhood, he has always wanted to go outside. The man who raised him, Champion, used to tell him that the world beyond was vast, and that one day, if he was ever free, he would understand. Looking at the house, he turns back and walks home again. With each step, he feels the same warmth he once felt when walking toward Champion, the man he considered his father. The grandmother smiles at him as he enters. Happy Face picks up the dishes, saying he will start working from that very day. Soon, the old man returns home. He is surprised to see Happy Face already working and asks if this is the child the grandmother mentioned. She steps forward, points to Happy Face, and says, "Yes, this is the child." The man thinks to himself that when Winnie returns tomorrow, there might be trouble. Still, he welcomes Happy Face kindly. That day becomes the warmest day of Happy Face's life. Meanwhile, that same night, William lives through the coldest night of his life. Some people even throw rocks at his dorm window. Within the week, news of the arena incident spreads throughout the school. William is labeled a criminal. No matter how much he shouts that he isn't involved, he can't escape the suspicion that he enjoyed watching a royal family member die in the arena, even though he hadn't actually seen it. Because of this, all his school awards are confiscated, and his church scholarship is cut off. None of his pleas for mercy are accepted. In desperation, he goes to his senior's room, knocks hard on the door, and says the pass he holds belongs to him. The senior slightly opens the door, whispering that William is trying to frame him, then loudly calls him a barbarian and tells him to leave. He mocks William in front of everyone. William finally loses his patience and tries to attack the senior, but two other students stop him. That same night, he is expelled from the dormitory, his future left uncertain. He doesn't have the courage to go home. Instead, he wanders into the mountains, alone, crying and apologizing to his parents. At that moment, Happy Face is nearby, searching through the bushes for something to eat. Seeing William, he asks if he is alright. William is stunned. He thought Happy Face had died. He asks how he is there. Happy Face replies that he is out that night, looking for food. Unaware to both, a group of men is watching them from the shadows. One whispers to his boss that the boy is from the university. He has seen him leaving the campus himself, which means he must belong to a noble family. Another boy is just a foolish village boy. Either way, they decide to attack William. Happy Face tells William that he is now a slave of the grandmother, and her house is nearby. William asks if it is okay for him to be outside like this, and Happy Face replies that grandmother says it is fine as long as it isn't during working hours. Hearing this, William smiles, saying that the grandmother must be a kind master. Then Happy Face asks why William has been crying earlier, but before William can answer, several armed men appear, surrounding them. William quickly whispers to Happy Face to kneel down, but Happy Face stays standing. William immediately drops to his knees, taking out all the money he has. The thugs laugh, telling him they don't want his money, their target is his parents, and they have come to kidnap him. As they move closer, Happy Face suddenly strikes one of them with incredible speed, knocking him to the ground before anyone can even see what has happened. Then, in another swift motion, he hits the second thug hard, dropping him instantly. The rest realize it is this boy who has taken down their men. Their leader shouts for them to kill him. They attack together, but none of their blows land. Happy Face dodges every strike and counters with heavy punches, knocking them down one after another. When they realize they stand no chance, they turn and run. William stands amazed, shocked that Happy Face has defeated armed men with his bare hands. After all, he is the arena champion. As they look over the fallen thugs, William finds a poster near one of them. It is a wanted notice for the same group Happy Face has just beaten. William explains that they are the Exile Clowns, the largest criminal organization spreading across the kingdom. Recently, their influence has started reaching the capital itself, and the king has placed a bounty on all Exile Clowns. William tells Happy Face that if they hand the captured thugs to the authorities, they can claim the bounty. They bring the criminals to the nearest outpost, but the officer there says slaves can't receive bounty money. William tries to explain that Happy Face is his friend, but the officer repeats that it doesn't change his slave status. Thinking quickly, William registers everything under his own name, completes the paperwork, receives the payment, and hands all the money to Happy Face. He tells him to go buy some food from the market, but Happy Face quietly admits he doesn't know how to buy things. William smiles and tells him he will teach him next time. The two talk for a while and become close friends. They promise to meet again and then part ways. The next day, William appears in court. His parents sit anxiously among the spectators, and his senior arrives too, wearing a bandage on his head as if injured. The judge announces that the case has been handled properly and that William is guilty of assaulting another student, deserving punishment. But then, to everyone's shock, the judge places a medal on William's chest. He declares that by the king's order, William's punishment is revoked because he has captured some of the kingdom's most dangerous criminals. The king has granted him another chance. William Sr. stands frozen, unable to believe it. He tears off his fake bandage in anger, consumed by jealousy, thinking William's parents must have bribed the court for this outcome. Meanwhile, last night, Happy Face hadn't slept well. His body ached as if needles were piercing his muscles. He thought it was hunger, but it wasn't. It was the hunger for fighting. The only time his body feels at peace is during the battle with the thugs. That night, he finally sleeps deeply, and in the morning, he wakes up refreshed. The next day, the young woman, Winnie, finally arrives at her grandmother's home. She asks about the new slave and has brought a small gift for him. When the old woman calls Happy Face to come outside, Winnie freezes completely the moment she sees him, standing in stunned silence. She turns to her grandfather and asks if this towering, smiling man is the same child he has told her about. Happy, cheerful as ever, waves his hand in greeting and introduces himself. A little later, Winnie whispers to her grandfather that the man has come from the arena, and that makes her uneasy. Her grandfather, calm as always, says they will observe him for a few more days. From what he has seen, the man seems to be a good person. He works hard, does every chore willingly, and even makes the grandmother laugh again, something she hasn't done in years. Happy carries barrels, helps around the farm, and does everything with a smile on his face. Winnie is still cautious, but she can't ignore his cheerful nature. One morning, under a clear sky, Winnie decides to chop wood herself. She keeps working steadily when Happy arrives carrying buckets of water and happily tells her the bath is ready. Winnie tells him to rest for a while and that she will come after finishing her task. Happy sits nearby and says he wants to learn how to chop wood. From now on, he says, that will be his job. Winnie smiles and says she will teach him. She swings the axe first, it misses slightly, and a small piece of wood falls near Happy's feet. Feeling a little embarrassed, she explains that fine wood pieces are important for lighting fires. Then she tries again, and this time hits perfectly, splitting the log cleanly in two. Happy claps enthusiastically at her skill, and from the window, her grandfather watches them with a smile, thinking they are finally beginning to get along. A while later, the grandmother arrives and tells Winnie that there is no need to cut wood. Happy has already chopped plenty during the night. Surprised, Winnie asks him why he says he needs to learn. Happy explains that he has tried it for the first time the previous night, but afterward, his shoulder began to hurt, so he wants to learn the proper technique. Winnie scolds him gently, saying he should have told her, but seeing his usual smile, she understands he takes no offense. Grandmother tells Happy to rest, while Winnie silently admires him. That night, Winnie sees Happy leaving the farm and grows worried. When she asks her grandmother about it, she explains that she has given him permission to go anywhere freely after work hours. The grandfather adds that he has gone out at the same time the previous night too. Winnie becomes curious about why he is doing this. Meanwhile, Happy reaches William's house and knocks on the door. William's little sister opens it. When she asks where he's going, William tells her he is headed to the library, and they both leave together. William is surprised, but also happy to see him. Happy asks if it is all right for him to be out like this. William assures him it is fine. After all, Happy has saved his life. William says he will take him to the market today, but then Happy takes out a wanted poster he has collected from the village. He says he wants to go after such people. He wants to fight criminals like these, but admits he can't read, so he needs William's help. They decide to split the bounty money, just as they have with their previous hunt. William agrees, partly because Happy has once saved him, and partly because he is amazed by Happy's strength. Besides, Happy needs fights. They seem to be the only thing that ease the strange pain he feels at night. This becomes their nightly routine. They go bounty bounty hunting after dark and earn money together. But back at William's house, suspicion begins to grow. His family wonders where he goes every night. His sister cries that he no longer plays with her. Meanwhile, at the farmhouse, Winnie discovers coins from bounty hunts in Happy's room and begins to wonder what he is doing every night. At the same time, not far from the farm, inside a cave, the Iron Giant has already defeated many soldiers and is about to claim a hidden treasure when Happy and William finally find him. It is the biggest bounty they have ever faced. William feels a bit afraid. They have agreed to hunt only small bounty targets, but this one looks far too dangerous. The Iron Giant warns them to leave quietly. William looks around in worry, realizing that the man has defeated so many soldiers alone, and he urges Happy to leave. But before he can stop him, Happy suddenly attacks the giant. The Iron Giant blocks the strike easily and says he hasn't expected someone to attack him barehanded. He remarks that Happy's body must be hurting after striking metal armor like that, but Happy just keeps smiling. The giant then launches a series of heavy attacks. Happy dodges each one with great speed, but eventually, the giant manages to land a hit, knocking Happy to the ground. William immediately steps forward, trying to stop the giant. With tears in his eyes, he says that back in the arena, Happy's fights had never seemed cruel. He was always certain that Happy would win, and that's why he had wanted to see him fight again. He thanks him for helping capture the exile clowns, because of which he has been allowed to return to school. That is why he has decided to help when Happy came to him. But now he realizes this isn't the arena, and he doesn't want to push Happy toward death just to see him fight. Tears keep streaming down his face as he apologizes. The giant, however, attacks again. But this time, Happy moves swiftly and saves William at the last moment. Then Happy reveals that everything, his apparent weakness, his fall, is an act. Happy then tells William about his former master, a man obsessed with strength. Every time Happy defeated an opponent, his master brought in a stronger one from across the world. But because Happy always finished fights too quickly, his master earned no profit and would grow angry. So Happy had learned to pretend he was struggling, just to entertain the crowd, even though in truth, fighting was never a problem for him. He returns the giant's weapon to him and continues, explaining that he never fought because he enjoyed it. He fought because, if he didn't, he would be tortured to death. That habit has become part of him, buried so deeply that even outside the arena, he can't stop fighting. That's why he keeps going. The giant attacks again and again, but this time, despite his full effort, he can't land a single hit. Happy counters once and sends him crashing to the ground. The giant rises again, exhausted. Happy turns to William and says he is grateful that William cares for him. But next time, he shouldn't risk his life to protect him. After all, William is the only person who has ever called him a friend. And if William still isn't sure that he can win, then he will show him something that will leave no doubt. He will show his full power. The giant laughs mockingly at him, saying that the broken spear he has found will be useless. Around them lie the shattered remains of the soldiers' many defeated swords, and he taunts that the spear can do nothing to him. But suddenly, Happy hurls the spear straight toward him. The man quickly raises his shield to block it, but when he looks up again, Happy is already in front of him, striking with tremendous force. The spear pierces between the armor plates, lifting the giant slightly off the ground. Happy tells him that the more he resists, the more pain he will feel. The man begins to lose balance. His sword slips from his hand, and at last, he falls in defeat. Happy throws him to the ground, ending the fight. William watches in absolute shock. Happy assures him there's nothing to worry about. The man is only unconscious. Happy then mentions that his old master never liked fights that ended too quickly. William's face lights up, saying it is an incredible fight. They have defeated a major criminal. He decides he will no longer worry about Happy's battles and will completely trust him from now on. Happy, exhausted, says he hasn't slept in days and is feeling sleepy. He goes over to his basket and lies down. Before William can say anything else, Happy is already asleep. William thinks for a moment that he should report the incident. Then his eyes fall on the spear Happy has thrown. Strangely, it has no blood on it, only faint marks. William wonders if Happy used some hidden weapon to break through the armor. He turns the fallen knight's body over to check the damage. Just then, the commander arrives with a group of soldiers responding to the report from an injured survivor. Seeing the spear in William's hand and the fallen, wanted criminal beside him, they assume William is the one who defeated the giant. They ask for his name, and when he says William, they recognize it immediately. They remember hearing rumors about a university student who hunts bounties as a hobby, the same one who recently captured members of the exile clowns. William hesitates, unsure whether to tell them the truth, but the situation leaves him no choice. The soldiers tell him he can leave. His bounty reward will be processed. He lifts the sleeping Happy onto his shoulders and walks away from the battlefield. Meanwhile, the commander examines the spear closely and whispers to his men that this couldn't be the weapon used in the kill. There is no sign of fresh blood on any weapon nearby. He can't believe a student could have defeated the Iron Giant or captured the Exile Clown group. In truth, Happy had used no weapon at all. He defeated the armored warrior with his bare hands. Elsewhere, the surviving soldiers of the Exile Clown group, the ones Happy had previously defeated, are now kneeling before their furious leader. They are tied up as he reminds them that their group had sworn never to retreat, yet they had been beaten by a single student. Enraged, the leader killed the 3 who had failed and warned the others that they would fight this kingdom to their last breath. He then turns to a girl beside him and asks about the student. She replies that they had already found him. His name was William, and he hunted bounties for fun. Their next target is now set, William himself. At the same time, William's former senior student rages before his wealthy father, insisting that William must have bribed his way out of punishment. His father hands him an envelope and tells him to show everyone what happens to those who try to embarrass their family. When the son asks what it is, the father says it belongs to their secret organization, Brian's Covenant, and orders him to send them after William and have him eliminated. Later, the bodies of the slain Exile Clown group members are found. To collect them, the old gravedigger comes along with his apprentice, Cigar. He questions why no postmortem has been done and how such a serious case could be closed so quickly, pointing out that the wounds clearly show it is no ordinary death. The old man reminds him that his obsession with justice could cost him dearly, just like last time when his report nearly got them both in trouble. He adds that these corpses belong to wanted criminals, so no one really cares. As Sagar examines the bodies, he notices old wounds, the same kind seen on corpses from the arena. Just then, Winnie arrives, telling the old man she has brought the herbs from her apothecary that he requested. The gravedigger asks about her grandfather's health and takes the herbs from her. Then Winnie goes to Sagar, hands him a bundle of herbs, and tells him she has brought some for him too. Sagar thanks her. Afterward, Winnie whispers to the old man that his apprentice has been staying with him for over a month. It seems he has grown fond of him. The gravedigger replies that Sagar works well, but is a little strange. Winnie says they also have a slave at home who is strange too. She tells him that the boy often leaves the house at night and that a pouch of coins has been found under his bed. She fears he might be involved in something dangerous, since he is also a skilled fighter. Sagar overhears and says that the arena is gone. Those fighters are either dead or dangerous criminals. If any had survived, it means there is a powerful force behind them, a hand even the king couldn't touch. He warns that perhaps her grandmother has unknowingly taken in a dangerous man as a slave. He then asks Winnie for documents related to the slave, saying he can help trace his background. Winnie agrees to check those papers that night, and they both leave. That night, the same night, Happy is still asleep. William finally brings him home. Everyone is alarmed seeing Happy like that, but William assures them he is just sleeping. William then tells them everything, how he goes bounty hunting every night, how Happy has spent his life in the arena, suffered from a facial nerve disorder, and can't sleep because of the pain he endured there. Fighting is the only life he knows. Hearing the story, the grandmother begins to cry, while the grandfather listens silently. Winnie's doubts finally fade. William then reveals that Happy is the same one who had saved his life. He owes him a great debt. After saying goodbye, William leaves. When morning comes, Happy wakes up to find Winnie beside him. She gently asks why he has never told anyone that he can't sleep because of pain. She had always misunderstood him. Happy says that if he becomes useless, he will be discarded. That's how it worked in the arena. Winnie tells him that he isn't a slave here. This is his home now. Her grandmother sees him as her own child. She promises that he has nothing to worry about and that she will heal him. She is skilled in herbal medicine. A faint light of hope appears in Happy's eyes, and he agrees. When Winnie reaches out to help him up, he suddenly pulls out a ring, shows it to her, and slips it onto her finger. Winnie gasps, blushing and shouting in embarrassment. It is a wedding ring. Happy, not understanding, asks what that means. His innocent confusion leaves her speechless. Then the grandfather arrives, hands Happy a pouch of money, and tells him it is the bounty reward his friend left. Happy refuses, asking them to keep it since he will no longer fight. Winnie will heal him. The old man hugs him proudly, and soon the grandmother joins in, praising him warmly. Happy then takes out 2 more rings and gifts them to the grandparents, making everyone laugh. Meanwhile, Winnie sends a letter to Sagar explaining that the misunderstanding has been cleared and there is no reason to worry. At the same time, William and a senior student are chatting nearby. The senior tries to charm William with flattery, while William remains angry and says they should part ways. The senior, pretending remorse, falls to his knees, begging for forgiveness and another chance. Eventually, William agrees and goes along with him. Watching from afar, Sagar remarks mockingly about the senior's fake act, while the senior secretly thinks to himself that William is truly a fool. This time, he's walking straight into his trap. William is also watching the senior with suspicion, even as the senior keeps apologizing again and again. But suddenly, that apology turns into betrayal. The senior pushes him from a height, sending William crashing to the ground. He hits hard and is badly hurt. Before he can recover, 3 masked men grab him. They are the senior's hired thugs. They take William to an unknown house where they begin torturing him. The senior tells him that he has never liked him from the beginning. William, in pain, says he has never done anything wrong. It was always the senior who mistreated him. So why this hatred? The senior tells him that fools like him think effort alone brings success, when in reality, true respect comes only through power. He says that when people hear William is dead, they will celebrate. Then he orders his men to finish the job and walks out, waiting outside. But on a distant rooftop, Cigar is watching everything. He recognizes the thugs. They are Settle Colors, mercenaries hired by rich nobles to deal with their enemies. Sagar draws his dagger and begins moving toward the house where William is being held. Inside, William is barely conscious. The thugs tell him they will make him suffer before killing him. William's mind drifts. Is this how he will die? He had thought he came into the world to make a change, yet now he will die crushed under the pride of the wealthy. Suddenly, someone bursts through the window with incredible speed. Sagar freezes in shock as he sees who it is, the woman from the Exile Clown group. She stands before William, looking at him closely. Seeing his condition, she doubts he can be the same man who had defeated 5 of their members. She recalls hearing that there had been 2 people involved that night, which means this boy isn't the real fighter. The thugs warn her to leave before she gets herself killed, but without hesitation, she draws her sword. In one swift and powerful strike, she cuts them all down. William is stunned. Hiding inside, Cigar continues to observe. He wonders who William really is. The nobles want him dead, and now the Exile Clown group is after him too. It is a situation too dangerous for him to handle. He decides it is best to leave quietly. Meanwhile, the woman demands to know who has been with William. She presses her blade near his throat, giving him a final warning. At that moment, William remembers what Happy Face had once told him, never to risk his life because of him. He silently apologizes to Happy, tears filling his eyes, and finally whispers his name, Happy Face, a former arena slave now living on the farm. Sagar hears everything from his hiding place. At the same time, far away on that very farm, Happy is speaking to himself. He has promised not to fight anymore and is now making a gift for his friend William, unaware of the danger William is facing at that very moment.